Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into Algeria, a country where massive oil and gas wealth has literally built the nation for decades. But that wealth is a real double-edged sword. And right now, Algeria is standing at a critical crossroads, with that very foundation looking, well, pretty shaky.
And to really get what's happening, you just need to look at this one line from the International Monetary Fund. It perfectly captures the heart of the problem. Algeria's entire economic well-being is tied to the wild, unpredictable roller coaster of global energy prices.
So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the incredible promise that oil money has delivered. Then, we'll examine the cracks that are starting to show in that foundation. After that, we'll get into the tricky dilemma of subsidies. And finally, we'll ask, is there a path to a different future? All right, let's jump right in. For decades, Algeria has taken its massive oil and gas money and used it to make a unique, powerful promise to its people, a promise that has shaped the very fabric of society.
And at the core of it all is this idea of a social contract. Think of it as a deal, really. The state provides a huge welfare system. We're talking free healthcare, free education, and cheap food and energy. And all of this is paid for by those hydrocarbon exports. It's a really ambitious model, for sure. And this isn't just talk, right? You can see it in the numbers. This data from Chatham House shows that Algeria puts its money where its mouth is. Look at education spending. As a chunk of its economy, it's way higher than the regional average, and higher than neighbors like Morocco. And that commitment, it's clear across the board. They spend nearly double the average for Arab states on social protection. Healthcare spending is also really strong. And the payoff? Well, it's been huge. This investment led to an incredible success story. They basically wiped out extreme poverty.
But, and this is a big but, when your entire system is built on one single volatile resource, well, that's a risky bet. And that solid foundation that supported all this progress, yeah, it's starting to look a little shaky.
So here's where things get kind of weird. The IMF points out this strange paradox. The part of the economy that's not based on energy is actually doing pretty well, growing strong. But the hydrocarbon sector, the engine that pays for everything, it's actually shrinking. It's like two different economies moving in opposite directions. And this chart just says it all, doesn't it? That growth in the domestic economy isn't changing what Algeria sells to the rest of the world. It is almost entirely oil and gas. It's a one-trick pony, economically speaking, and that makes the entire country's budget incredibly vulnerable. This dependency has another huge side effect back home. A staggering 42% of the workforce is informal. That means they work off the books, not contributing taxes or social insurance. Think about that for a second. Almost half the workforce isn't paying into the very system designed to support everyone.
So you had this huge chunk of the workforce not paying in, which leads us directly to one of the biggest, most sensitive issues of all, the absolutely mind-boggling cost of the country's subsidies, a cost that might not be sustainable for much longer.
Just try to wrap your head around this number. In a single year, according to Chatham House, the subsidy bill was over $23 billion. That's a colossal amount of money just to keep the prices of everyday things artificially low.
And where's all that cash going? Well, the lion's share, a whopping 85%, goes to making energy cheap. This is why you can get some of the cheapest gas and electricity in the world in Algeria. It's an incredible deal for consumers. But wow, what a price for the government to pay.
So this whole policy brings up a really tough but really important question. When a subsidy is universal, meaning everyone gets it, rich or poor, is it actually fair? Is it the smartest way to help the people who need it most? Well, it turns out the Algerian public has a pretty strong opinion on that. A huge majority, 82%, say no, these subsidies should not be going to wealthy households. That's not a small margin, that's a landslide. It suggests people are ready for a smarter, more targeted system. Okay, so the people seem to be on board for a change. What's the plan then? What does the path forward actually look like? Well, experts have laid out a roadmap to build a more modern and resilient economy.
The IMF basically has a 4-point playbook for this. First, broaden the tax base so you're not just relying on oil money. Second, make it easier to do business. Cut the red tape. Third, open the doors a bit wider to foreign investment. And fourth, the big one, improve governance and transparency across the board.
And you really can't overstate how important that last point is. This quote from the IMF says it all. For a country rich in natural resources, building trust through transparency isn't just a nice idea, it is absolutely essential. It's the bedrock. Without it, the other reforms just won't stick.
So why does all this matter so much? Because this isn't just about balancing a budget. It's about protecting the country from those energy price shocks. It's about finding a sustainable way to keep funding those social programs people rely on. And it's about unlocking the private sector to create new jobs and build a stronger economy for the long haul.
Which brings us to the big, ultimate question. It's a delicate balancing act that Algeria and a lot of countries like it are facing. How do you totally re-engineer your economy for a new world without breaking the social promise that has held your society together for decades?